All right. What's going on, everybody? My name's Hudsen, and this is my DSARI Do Something and Report It project for BBE 1201. So here's what we're going to be going over in this slideshow. First of all, here's some background information. So I live in Sanford on campus here at the U of M Twin Cities. I live in a double dorm with one roommate. It's about 190 square feet. That's something I looked up. I didn't measure it, so take that as you will. We recorded all of our numbers for energy in mid-October when it stopped being hot and it started to cool down a little bit. That impacted how much we used our fan a little bit. I have one roommate. His name is Mo. He's a great guy. We both grew up pretty environmentally conscious already, so it was a pretty helpful advantage to have starting this project, and it really helped us understand things a little bit more. We spend about 12 hours a day in the dorm, that's including sleeping, so it's really not too much. Outside of sleep, it's about 4 hours of just kind of getting ready, eating, whatever. And we grouped all of our appliances into lighting, climate, food, and electronic. Here's some more context about that. I measured 8 different appliances as required, starting with the installed overhead lights that we have. I asked David, he said that I could estimate those are about 20 watts. I've got a lamp on my desk that I use, a mini fridge for our food, a laptop charger for my laptop, a kettle for like ramen and tea and things like that, a microwave for ramen again, other food, box fan that we put in the window and we use when it gets hot, and then a tower fan, which we kind of use whenever we just need some extra air circulating. So I determined all of these average numbers on the screen here for the kilowatt hours per month using ChatGPT. I asked David if that was okay. He said I could use some AI searching. Even yet, the sources for those are on slide 11. And ultimately, it determined that the average kilowatt hour per month for these 8 appliances is 57.5 kilowatt hours per month. So that's the number we're going to try and beat. I used this kilowatt that my dad got for me. So thank you, Dad, for that. And I measured all of them and took pictures as required. You can see a few of them there. There's a couple more in a few slides. And we recorded the amount of time that we used all of the appliances on this big whiteboard. So my roommate and I were together on this. There's a few things like the fridge there, that's constant. That was every day. That was easy to record. Then a few things that we barely used at all, like the kettle on Tuesday, 40 seconds, Friday, 55 seconds. I only really used that to just let it heat up until boiling and then poured it over some noodles. So it was pretty straightforward. We had the constant and the variable power devices, as well as the light bulb, and those were the 3 method types for recording. And so for the constant, that's recording both the power it uses on and off, multiplied by the hours that it's on or off, respectively, and you get the watt hours per day. Same is true for kilowatt hours if it's something that consumes a lot more power. The variable devices are measured in watt hours total, divided by the time measured, and those were for the things that we measured for a long period of time, like the mini fridge. Last is the light bulb. I didn't have any cycle devices. I would have included that otherwise, but the light bulb is just taking the wattage on the bulb times the amount of hours on, and that gets your watt hours per day total. So there's that. And I used all of those calculations as well as the table that David gave us to make sure all of the numbers were right. That did the auto calculations to determine that our total kilowatt hours per month was 26.95. I've got 6 more of those pictures down there, so you can make sure I got all of the numbers right. You can look at this slideshow, look at this spreadsheet if you really want to, but all the numbers in there should be good. It just kind of details how many watt hours per day, per month, on and off all the different appliances use, and it separates them into the constant and the variable devices. I also put in parentheses what they're kind of used for. Working is charging laptop, and that's the only one. Otherwise, there's a couple there for cooling. I separated the box fan into high and low, and otherwise they should all be pretty normal. So how do they compare, right? Why would we take this information if we can't apply it? They compare pretty well. All the highlighted numbers on this chart are the ones that are the lowest values of the 3 columns. And the 3 columns are my results, the AI average results, and then the average results for the same amount of hours. So this kind of lets us see how well we compare in 2 different categories, right? And it seems like we're doing great. The only numbers that we lost were the microwave and the charging of laptops, which I think I'm fine with both, because the microwave, 5 watt hours per day, I'm willing to say that that's a little bit negligible, especially considering I calculated including the light on in the microwave, and that might not have been something that they did. And then charging laptops, as a college student, I'm sure that we all kind of understand that that could be a little bit more intense with the amount of workload we get compared to other people. So again, that number that we were looking to beat was 57.5 kilowatt hours per month, and we did that very successfully, coming in at 26.95. That's nearly half. So far, very great things. Ultimately, from this project, I learned that I could cut back on some energy consumption, because even though that number that we got was pretty great, it doesn't mean it can't be better. So there's still points that we could improve. And I think that we might, with this coming winter, we'll probably cut back on the box fan use, tower fan use. And then the mini fridge also, I'm kind of looking at it right now. It's on top of some carpet. It might not get the best airflow. There's probably some things we could do. If we were to stop using the tower fan entirely, that would cut off 4.5% of our total energy use. So just little things like that, maybe. I learned that doing the energy audit like this was intense. It took us from early October until right about now. So, and now being November 3rd. It was a lot of time. I did procrastinate it a little bit, but still, I think it put things into perspective and it was a great experience overall. That's all I have. My name's Hudson again. There's my email. If you have any complaints or questions about this, you can let me know. And then here are all the sources I used. So thank you so much. Have a good day.